So I went on a wonderful vacation with my fiance last month, and in typical fashion, as is my luck, while I'm away and unable to make videos, Bethesda just decides to feed us an entire banquet, honestly. There's there's a lot to go over. I'm gonna condense it a little bit so that this video doesn't drag on. I will also touch on certain rumors, a couple of non-Bethesda related things that are actually related to Bethesda in their own way. But to start, I'm just going to kind of read this verbatim and we'll go from there. So, a note from Bethesda Game Studios. We love making these worlds as much as you love playing in them. Today we want to share what's next for Bethesda Game Studios and what you can expect from us in the years ahead. For 40 years, we've built games that have entertained almost 500 million players. More than just games, these are worlds. Worlds for you to explore, shape, and make your own. Worlds we return to together. So, some of it does kind of sound very corporate-y, but as far as Starfield goes, they have confirmed they have over 17 million players logging in almost 1 billion hours. As they enter year 3, they will be continuing to add new stories, new gameplay improvements, new updates, and they're preparing for the launch of new Starborn content next year. More than 40% of Starfield's player base already customized their experience through creations and modding, and Bethesda plans to continue investing in those creators and giving players more ways to make Starfield their own. Those are pretty impressive numbers. 17 million players is a massive amount of players. When you consider that Ubisoft sees Black Flag Resynced as a success, having only sold about 3 million copies, and this is over 5 times that. I mean, to anybody out there who still thinks Starfield is a failure, you know, you can dislike it if you want, but numbers don't lie, you know. So, Created by Players is a discussion about creations. Bethesda plans to continue to support creations. They've just hit a major milestone, adding creations to Fallout 4. So now all 3 of their major quote-unquote modern titles, that being Fallout 4, Skyrim, and Starfield, have creator-made mods. And creators themselves have earned more than $10 million in royalties from all of the work they've done, which is an insane amount of money. But the future of Fallout, this is where it gets really interesting. This is where I'm the most excited to talk about. You know, Fallout 5 remains our long-range destination. We have multiple Fallout projects in active development right now. They talk a little bit about Fallout 76. They've done over 70 free updates. I believe the number is actually 76. They have a major expansion planned for next year, set to be a prequel to Fallout 3 around the Enclave and Raven Rock, which, as an Enclave fan, I'm way on board for. The franchise is, you know, there's a lot to talk about here. Fallout 4 itself just celebrated its 10-year anniversary and just passed over 35 million copies sold. You know, they did release it on the Nintendo Switch 2 earlier this year. They did the next-gen update. They added creations. It's been a busy year for Fallout 4. We also know players want to revisit previous Fallout experiences. And while we're not announcing dates today, we have been working on remasters for both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. That is probably like one of the worst kept secrets in the industry. We've known about these for years. Like, I believe the first credible or verifiable rumors for this were coming out in like 2021, and they've only kind of just continued to snowball. So having official confirmation is good. Even if we don't have dates yet, you know, we'll get there when we get there. The Oblivion remaster came out earlier last year. It's been over a year now. Wow. It was very successful. You know, plenty of criticisms about Unreal, but what can you do? But you know, in that same vein, they will be doing Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout Shelter is continuing to get support. There's an unscripted Fallout Shelter TV project in the works with Amazon Studios and Kilter Films, who helped work on the main Fallout show. Speaking of, 10 Emmy nominations for Fallout Season 2 and production for Season 3 already underway. Well, we won't host a traditional Fallout Day broadcast this year. We're planning something special for the 30th anniversary in 2027, when Fallout Day will be celebrated live in Washington, D.C. Now, I'm not a betting man. I'm not a gambling man. But if I were a gambling man, I would put the 76 expansion and the Fallout 3 remaster somewhere around there, or at least a confirmed release date for the Fallout 3 remaster would be shown there, because that is a tremendous occasion in a tremendously iconic location for the Fallout universe. It just makes sense. It just works. Studio collaboration. The Wasteland continues to expand as we team up once again with our longtime friends at Obsidian Entertainment. We are happy to confirm that they are working with us on a new Fallout project. We'll have more to share in the future. We're also bringing our teams closer together across Bethesda. ZeniMax Online Studios will partner closely with Bethesda Game Studios on the Elder Scrolls franchise, and will continue to deliver new experiences for Elder Scrolls Online. They just recently had seasons, you know, sort of overtake yearly expansions. They just released Season 1. The team has more planned for the future. I'm not going to touch too much on the Elder Scrolls Online because, you know, it's a pretty good self-sustaining ship at this point. And despite what Xbox has you believe with all these layoffs, like, ESO's in a good spot. What's interesting to me is the Obsidian Entertainment Fallout project. There have been so many rumors about Obsidian Entertainment in the last couple of months, like especially in the last month. Like, there has been a leak that they helped prototype a Halo MMO. You know, there were these mass layoffs, and now we have this Fallout project. The questionable and concerning thing is, I think players are putting too much hope and faith in Obsidian as some kind of, like, franchise savior. You know, Fallout New Vegas is an incredible game. It is arguably, you know, one of, if not the best game in the series, but, like, that Obsidian is 16 years out of date at this point. And that is not to say that I think that their modern games are bad, because Avowed, I really like Avowed. I really loved The Outer Worlds. I have not played The Outer Worlds 2. I've heard good things about it. But none of those are comparable to Fallout New Vegas. And I don't think whatever they do with the Fallout IP is going to manage to hit the same level of success as New Vegas. And I think people have too high of an expectation in them for that. And we've even seen, I believe it was Josh Sawyer, say that personally he's not super interested in working in another Fallout. That he's happy with Obsidian kind of doing their own thing. You know, this was shortly before Avowed came out. Things can change. You know, Tim Kaine, the original creator of the Fallout franchise, is working at Obsidian Entertainment now, and I'm sure that he is just frothing at the mouth to be able to work on that world again. But you know, I can't speak for him. I don't know. We don't have any of these details. On that same note, though, at the time of recording this, it is 5 in the morning on the 31st of July. And last night, as I was scrolling Twitter before bed, one of the things that I saw pretty commonly was a rumor that allegedly In Exile Entertainment will be working on a Fallout project as well. In Exile, you know, also sort of has its roots in Fallout after Interplay fell apart, after, you know, Fallout sort of just got thrown around as a as a license. A lot of the developers went and found it in exile, started the Wasteland series, or I guess continued the Wasteland series, you know, Wasteland 2, Wasteland 3. They have Clockwork Revolution coming out. I think Fallout is a good fit for them, but I hope it's something that they want to do and not something they're being forced to do, kind of in the same vein as how I feel about Obsidian. As for the Elder Scrolls, there wasn't really much to say. You know, the Elder Scrolls 6 is actively being developed. It's being developed in an upgraded version of Starfield's engine. That's all we got. You know, they're not super keen on talking about the Elder Scrolls 6. You know, I think they just kind of want to pretend it doesn't exist until it's ready. Fallout 5 is in pre-production. You know, Skyrim has sold 65 million copies, which is just an absolutely insane number to think about, but it's not surprising with how often they get re-released. But that's about it. That's everything that they've given us so far as Starfield, the Elder Scrolls, Fallout. You know, there's a lot here, but there's also not. There's a lot to look forward to, but not a whole lot to get our hands on at the moment. You know, we have Fallout 4 creations mods, we have Skyrim creations mods, we have Starfield creations mods, but, you know, a Fallout remaster for both 3 and New Vegas, I don't know if they would be the same thing or a bundle. You know, I don't know if they'd be separate. Who knows? But that's awesome. You know, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the 76 stuff. You know, Fallout 5, I don't even know why they're bothering to mention Fallout 5. We're not going to be seeing that for at least another 15 years. You know, I might be able to play that when I'm in the retirement home. But it's an exciting thing to think about, you know, how much we have to look forward to at some point in the future. And it's a very scary thing to see Bethesda actively communicating with us. That, I think, scares me the most, because they've been radio quiet. They've been radio quiet about like everything for such a long time. I think, you know, Xbox has new management. Xbox is going through a massive restructuring and overhaul, and I think they kind of lit a fire under Bethesda's ass. You know, we paid $7 billion or whatever it is for you and all your subsidiaries, so like, where is everything going? You know, the only developer that Bethesda owns that has been consistently pushing out content is Doom, and, you know, id Software just got massive layoffs, so that's probably not going to be the case anymore. So I'm curious to see how all of this goes, you know. But we have one more piece of interesting Bethesda news, and that is a rebrand. They've rebranded. I love this logo, actually. It kind of, you know, it's the same font and styling as like Daggerfall, but it also has, it looks a lot more modern. It looks very nice. It's got a lot more soul, I think, than that sort of corporate black and white that we've been looking at for the last 10 years or so. You know, it's really nice. But as far as Bethesda goes, that is all I've got. I have a couple of mod showcases in the works. I have a Skyrim one that I know I'm working on, and a few Starfield ones. One is closer to completion than the others. I don't want to, you know, make promises or anything, but that is everything I have so far. You know, thank you all so much for watching. Why don't I follow Bethesda on my account? You should go follow me. I don't tweet here very often, but I'm funny sometimes. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.